David Brewster here with a new episode of 3 for All. This is 3 Jerry Reed licks from 1979, and I've had some requests to feature some of the legendary Jerry Reed's guitar playing. And I've been a Jerry Reed fan since I was a little kid. Before I'd even touched a guitar, I was aware of Jerry Reed and I was a fan. And I remember watching TV with my dad, and I was a little kid. And whatever show it was, it might have been Hee Haw or something like that, but Jerry Reed came out, he was talking and laughing, and everybody started laughing, and then he started playing guitar. And I was mesmerized, for sure. I was like, who is this guy? And I've been a fan ever since. So Jerry Reed's career started somewhere around 1955, and it continued until 2008, which is the year that he passed away. And his career, he released, 50 albums? He released 59 singles. And a lot of those were top 10 hits. He collaborated with Glenn Campbell, Chet Atkins, he performed with B.B. King, and a whole bunch of people in his career. So definitely, Jerry Reed's a total guitar legend. So I fell into Jerry Reed before I started playing guitar, and then fast forward however many years, and I was playing guitar. I was totally obsessed with Van Halen and Satriani and Vai and Malmsteen, and eventually I watched Eric Johnson's Total Electric Guitar instructional video. And in that video, he's breaking down some of his influences. He's talking about Hendrix and Jeff Beck and Clapton and Wes Montgomery, and then he mentions Jerry Reed. He starts playing some Jerry Reed, stuff, and that blew me away. And I thought, wait, Jerry Reed? That guy from when I was a little kid? And then upon, Eric Johnson's recommendation in this video, I went back and I listened to Jerry Reed as a guitarist instead of a little kid. And I was blown away all over again. And I thought, wow, Jerry Reed is a badass. And then I fell back into his music again. So the licks in this episode came from a live TV appearance in 1979 with Jerry Reed, and there is a clip of him playing with B.B. King, and that's a great performance of Jerry Reed and B.B. King playing together. Rare, 70s kind of an occurrence. But there's some interesting licks and some of his little sleight of hand, kind of quick, chromatic slurring and stuff like that. But definitely, Jerry Reed has a very signature and distinct sound, and nobody sounds like Jerry Reed. There's a lot of players that want, or they try, to sound like Jerry Reed. But there's only one, the Snowman. The first lick's a blues phrase, and this takes place during the Jerry Reed and B.B. King jam during this TV appearance. And it's a blues in A, and I've kind of set up a backing with TC Electronic did a looper to kind of help me through, because it would sound really empty with just the lick. But the first lick, something like this. One more time. So it's a blues in A, kind of hitting like that A6 tonality, like as far as the backing. And then you hear Jerry distinctly doing this. So that E to F sharp 5 times in a row, kind of like a little stutter hammer-on right there. And then slide, like a shift slide, E to F sharp, and then grab that A right there on the high E string. Like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then shift slide to A. And then do that shift slide again to A. And then you're going to do a shift slide from C to B, and then end on A right there on the B string. Again, and now this is over D7, so it changes to the 4 chord right there, like that, and start on that same riff, and now that A is hitting that D right there, or D7, and then you got this tasty little number, so you're going to grab that C, bend that to C sharp, then grab this F sharp to A, and then grab this G. Then you're going to do a pull-off, F sharp, F to E, and then right there, scooch back and grab C, and then shift slide that to C sharp, like that. So really slow. Really tasty lick for sure. Alright, lick number 2 is a funky slip and slide phrase, and this is a different song without B.B. King, but we're still in A7, and we're kind of moving from A7 to A sharp 7 to B7, and I'm going to use the TC Electronic Ditto Looper again to kind of help me out, but lick number 2 looks and sounds like this. One more time. It's a really slippery and weird lick, but I love it. So we're in A7. Doing that climb into B right there, and you hear Jerry slide E to F sharp, and then he bends that F sharp up a half step to G, so it has this ear-catching kind of sour sound right off the bat, like that. So you're bending up to that G, but you're sliding into that F sharp and then bending. Really weird lick. And then go back to that E note, grab this B, give it like a half step bend to C, and then A right there. The first part, and then here's where your slip and slide. So we're going to move from E to F sharp there on the G string, grab that A, then you're going to grab B and shift slide that to C sharp, and then grab F sharp there with your pinky on the high E, like that. And then right there you're going to do a chromatic pull off, C sharp, C to B, and then go back to A, grab B, grab that F sharp, and then grab that A, and then end on F sharp and slide it off. So really slow all the way through it. A little bit faster. It's just a real slippery, kind of interesting lick, but I love phrases like that. Classic Jerry Reed right there. Alright, next up's a jazzy chromatic phrase, and this takes place during the same song, and it's actually played over the same chord progression too, that funky A7 to A sharp 7 to B7 change, and you distinctly hear Jerry playing a lick like this. Something like that. So he's basically rushing through this little chromatic phrase. I played it twice in a row right there, so I'm going to play it really slow once right here. Something like that. So he starts on this E, and he's grabbing E, G, and A, and then chromatically C, C sharp to D right there. And then you're going to play D sharp and slide that to E right there. You could also think of that as E flat, like the blues note, the flat 5. Like that. So that's the first run right there. Start on E and end on E, but then play it like this. And then the second run starts on G right there, and everything else is the same. And then the last run starts on A, and everything's the same. And then end on this little, and then you hear this like that. So really slow. One more time. And I love how it's the same phrase 3 times in a row, but he's leaving, a note out each time. So you're hearing less and less of that phrase, but your ear kind of remembers what you're hearing like that. And over that backing part. Really cool phrase, and I love those cram jazzy licks like that. Here's a bonus lick from this footage, and this is really unusual, but it's also very cool, and it's still over the same song, but a different part of the chord progression. Now we're hitting this D flat 7, D7, A flat 7, A7 thing, like this. Like that. And you distinctly hear Jerry play this lick, and it's kind of a blues lick, and then it ends with this crazy, almost flamenco-style strumming. Really cool, like this. One really weird. So it starts on this D thing. So you're kind of moving into that F sharp. And then you're doing that chromatic pull-off again. We've had that 3 times now in this lesson. That E flat to D. And then so right there. And then right there. This, and that's going to look like part of C major, but it's over A, so that's actually part of A7 right there. So don't think C, think A7 right there. Right, like that. And when you get to the end of that phrase, you're going to move into that little double stop, and that's where he starts doing the crazy flamenco strumming. Just kind of using my middle finger and just strumming the strings frantically, and you can see him doing it in the footage even though it's kind of blurry. So that's really weird with that flamenco style strumming at the end. You're literally just kind of, you know, but I'm literally just kind of fanning, almost tremolo picking my fingers. It's really weird. One more time here. Alright, that's going to wrap this episode of 3 for All with 3 Jerry Reed licks from 1979. Definitely a complete legend. You know, a performer, songwriter, singer, guitarist, actor, I mean, you name it. Jerry Reed did it all in his lifetime. And he had a very distinct and signature guitar style, and you could tell it was him as soon as he started to play. And you combine his style with the legendary Chet Atkins, of course, and he had his own distinct and signature style too. And it was magical. You know, those couple albums that Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins cut together are guitar dynamite. I mean, those are great albums for sure. And there's just something about Jerry Reed himself, very humble and human, you know, performer and musician. And I love the off-the-cuff, kind of spontaneous energy that he had. I mean, he would start laughing or talking right in the middle of a performance, you know, or he would, you know, grab his hat and hang it on somebody's headstock or whatever, and just, you know, playing jokes and laughing and just being a human being, really. And that was such a relief compared to some of the stuffy performances that you see, especially on television. And then you had Jerry Reed, who was kind of like a cartoon character, you know, with a guitar, which was so cool. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Net Lessons, and I'll be back before you know with more content and material. Thank you.